What is unpredictable is how some questions will be presented in a new format or in a new context. And that really is the nature of maths assessments. And what we would say is the fun of some of the problem-solving questions that appear. So sometimes the arithmetic in these questions can be quite simple, but the strategies needed to solve the question can be challenging. So teaching children explicit problem-solving strategies is really key, and giving them breadth and variety of problems and puzzles so that they are resilient at solving a variety of question types with success.
Teachers need to have explicit teaching modelling and discuss the strategies that can be used to answer questions. Also, we need to consider when mental skills should be used and which questions can be answered using mental strategies, so that children can work at a fluent pace and get papers completed. We don't want them wasting time on pencil and paper methods when they can work out questions mentally. So the children need to be aware of a variety of strategies they can use. For instance, there are adjustment strategies. So instead of adding 99, we could add 100 and take away 1. We could use factors or multiples. So for example, 48 multiplied by 25 at first sight appears to be a complicated multiplication, but if you multiply 48 by 100 and then divide the answer by 4, it becomes possible to complete it mentally. Using partitioning, for example, if we continue on from 48 multiplied by 100 divided by 4, 4,800 divided by 4 could be completed by dividing 4,000 by 4 and then 800 by 4 and recombining the answers. It is important to remind children that although we might decide to complete a question mentally, they can still make jottings or take notes throughout their calculation to help them solve it. Answers to a stage in the mental calculation do not have to be held in the head. And most importantly, to keep these mental arithmetic skills at their fingertips, they need regular practice, including knowing multiplication facts and the corresponding division facts. We have 5 tips. We think it's very important to revisit learning from years 3, 4 and 5. As we said earlier, 62.5 marks come from those year groups, so it's very important to revisit them prior to the Year 6 SATs.
Introduce new Year 6 curriculum in a timely way. We know that many schools use the White Rose schemes of learning to support planning. We would just give caution over this and advise teachers to gain coverage of as much of the curriculum sooner rather than later, and ideally by February half term. This will then give teachers and students the opportunity to revisit and consolidate learning in preparation for SATs.
Practice a variety of SATs type questions and the variety of responses that may be used. These questions may be from previous papers or from other sources and will improve children's reasoning skills. There are often similarities between SATs questions that are used each year, and practicing them will help children's confidence.
Learning key vocabulary and facts that children need to apply in the SATs papers is essential. Some questions require children to know and remember key definitions and facts to solve the problem. So, for example, to calculate the radius of a circle, they need to know the definition of radius. Also, conversion facts are essential in solving some of the questions that appear in the papers. For example, knowing kilometres to metre, centimetres to millimetres. All these conversion facts can really help children solve problems efficiently in the papers.
Provide a wide range of resources that children can use. These will have a variety of problems and puzzles and perhaps even games, so that children can develop and transfer problem-solving skills into different situations.
The Achieve series is an excellent resource to support revision. What is really helpful about this series is that there is a revision guide for children working towards expected standard, and then also a separate revision guide for children working towards greater depth. We think this is helpful because, as teachers will be aware, the scores for achieving expected standard and greater depth are of course different. Children working towards expected standard need to score just over half marks overall to achieve expected standard. So this year, in 2023, they needed 55 marks out of 110. In 2022, they needed 58 marks. For greater depth pupils, they needed to score 94 marks out of 110 in 2023 and 96 marks in 2022. So tailoring the planning of lessons for these two groups of pupils is important. The Achieve series also has question workbooks to complement the revision guides. This gives children exposure to SAT-style questions, which, as we've already mentioned, we believe is a really important revision strategy to help pupils prepare for the upcoming SATs papers.
You could also use Hodder optional test mathematics. These are sets of practice papers written in the style and format of SATs papers. They have been produced for years 1 to 6, and for each year group there are 3 sets available. Each set provides an arithmetic paper of 40 marks and 2 reasoning papers of 35 marks. There are also previous SATs questions, and these can be a very useful resource. They show the expected standard. It can be very helpful to group these questions so that children can practice a variety of questions on one particular aspect of the maths curriculum. And if these questions are downloaded into Word, then the numbers can be changed and provide further practice.
We would just like to finish off by saying Year 6 is not just about the SATs tests, but we hope all this preparation will support children with having a secure understanding of some of the key maths principles before they move on to secondary school.